give it for Zach. He's going to talk about simulated world with LLMs. It's really cool. I'll talk a little bit of this.
Oh, I don't deserve that. All right. So I found myself thinking the other night of, all the unfortunate issues in the world and the people in charge of it. And I asked myself, would AI do a better job? And I decided to make a simulation to help determine that. And I've never done simulation programming before. I think one of my favorite aspects of this have been all the unexpected results as these multiple systems I'm trying to model come to interplay with each other. For example, one early build of my project, which is technically every build of this project, it's still a very early one, had the AI dealing with overpopulation by building everyone private islands in the Pacific Ocean. Because I didn't tell the AI that it was more expensive to build in the ocean. So yes, unexpected results abound. It also designs things in a very minimal way, or tends to. It has control over building size and shape, or facility size and shape. It only does triangles and squares, because those are efficient. But those are the kinds of decisions that I find very interesting. And I do have a model here actually going through and making some of these calls to the MCP server that this is hosted on. And there are bugs, and I actually have it doing some debugging right now that another agent is consuming the output of this one to help patch those bugs as it comes across it. But I would like to show you my project. So this is the favicon for Neural Nation. I actually did want to cover a small aside because I'm using an LLM without a vision model, but I've had it making graphics for this project by using vectors and actually generating these vectors from data sets. So that was just an interesting aside I wanted to include in my talk. But the Neural Nation page itself is neuralnation.xcjs.com, which is my domain. You guys can play that right now. It does not work on mobile because there's just too much going on. I have intentionally blocked mobile for the time being until I decide, or maybe not decide, to address that. If you start a new game, you're presented with this. You're allowed to use your own agent with its own MCP client. However, if that is not feasible for you, there are in-browser models that use different amounts of memory depending on what you have available. That's still very experimental, and I'm running into a lot of context management issues, especially when you get these data sets back that are very large, because it is the world. And this is what Neural Nation looks like. And you can actually see, maybe I can make that a little bit bigger. My agent has built some resource extraction facilities, power plants, and distribution routes for these resources. You can click on different facilities. I may have just clicked on the same one I had. Give it a moment, it's not the fastest server. And you get like a little facility summary with its size and whether it's connected to power, where it's located. Some of the facilities require recipes to make new materials. Power does not. At least if it's renewable, which it tries to do. Over on the left-hand column are the world's resources measured in usually megatons or gigatons. I did pull real resource data, or rather I had my agent help me pull real resource data. The forest shading on the globe is actually, it's not decorative, that actually measures forest density from a survey. And as the LLM decides to harvest wood, if it harvests a significant amount of wood from a particular cell on the globe, the forest will go away, like it does in real life. It also has the option of planting forests if it decides to do that. Mineral deposits and distributions are based on real life data, real life surveys. And I have a lot of future goals, but right now the focus has been on hardening what's already there because, like I said, just with the beginnings of this simulation, I've had so many unexpected results. Building in the ocean, boring through the crust because that's a shorter distance. And I haven't even begun to model geopolitical conflicts yet, or public perception of how the AI is doing, but those are, among many other ideas, things I want to explore. This project has been very, very interesting, very unexpected in many ways. But I look forward to expanding it. Now, as far as technically how it works, there is a template SQLite database that when you start a new game is copied. So every player gets their own database to play in. Migrations for older games are in place in case somebody decides to leave and come back for a while. However, the host I have this running on is very limited in storage space. So if a game is inactive for a week, it gets deleted. So sorry if that happens to you. Yeah, I think this is a pretty short talk on what I have, but I am happy to answer any questions about future ideas or how it works already.
So Zach's let me test this while he was working on it, and I got early access before it was finished, and it didn't know how to deal with the overpopulation early in the game. So I had to build a space station and send humans out to space. It decided to send the humans to space to deal with the overpopulation. But then whenever I said, how are you keeping the humans alive that are in space? It said, got you. We need to keep the humans alive.
Gentleman behind Brandon, sorry.
Question for you. This is fascinating. I'm wondering how you, two things. One, how you keep up with has to be an immense amount of data that's required to kind of keep this world running. Two, how you decide which categories affect which factor. I mean, which things affect which. And then three, ultimately, as this grows, how you intend to maintain that even as your world gets bigger.
So fortunately, I don't have to maintain all of those factors. That's what my AI is for. Because yes, how can one person really track all of that? But also, can an AI track all of that? I think is like a big part of the question and the equation. You're also asking how I'm deciding how these systems interplay. I had so I started with resource acquisition and distribution because that's the problem that economies try to solve. And there are, of course, many different solutions and problems with different economic models. I wanted to see what would happen if those problems were manageable or were able to go away. We were able to get this post-scarcity world, or could we even get there is like maybe the for question. Still too early to tell, but I want to keep working on this and push it further to see. As far as the data sets themselves, they're not remarkably large, few megabytes per survey that I end up ingesting. They're just filled with coordinates and densities. Those do compress and store fairly well. But I have a lot more planned. I want to cover desertification. I want to cover ice levels, permafrost levels. Those are not modeled yet, otherwise you would see white and yellow on the globe, where deserts and ice caps are. Public sentiment, like I mentioned, was another thing I wanted to model because public sentiment of AI is not very great right now, perhaps deservedly so. So I wanted to throw all of those variables into a simulation and see what comes out.
Two-parter. One, is this off of one agent running this whole thing?
One agent is running this currently, yes.
Okay, so the next question is the geopolitical conflicts. How do you envision that working? Like, I hear that and I'm like, you give one agent the United States, you give the other agent like Russia or wherever, see how it plays out.
Well, the goal is for one agent to run it all. So geopolitical concerns will hopefully be less of an issue, but there is nothing stopping you from pointing multiple agents at the MCP endpoint and seeing how they divide things up or fight amongst themselves. Yeah.
Single player or multiplayer?
Once again, it's intended to be single player, but there's nothing stopping you from sharing your private key for the session and having someone else hop in.
Did the agent
I'm not sure if this is rendering or are these areas that the agent made a deliberate choice to flood when we see those blues over?
No. That's lack of forestry.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But it does have terraforming capabilities if it accumulates enough resources.
Okay, okay.
I'm not sure if that's visually reflected in the globe yet. That is something that I've been building toward as a later stage game item that I don't have fully thought out yet.
Can you play global thermonuclear war?
I do want to give the agents tools to make poor decisions in addition to good ones. So I haven't yet added nuclear warheads, but that is something that absolutely will be part of the game. You back there, and you had your hand up for a second.
I guess another game design decision question. How are you determining what is enough resources?
I'm actually leaning heavily on my development agent to help me figure that out. I'm having it like, hey, do research, go out online, find out, how much energy does it take to turn a block of lead into a block of gold? And sure, they throw that into the simulation. So I'm trying to make as many of these values backed by reality as much as possible. I am sure there is going to be some inaccuracies or estimations. I did have to develop this grid system to kind of localize regions into smaller squares, which is at a lower resolution than I wanted to run things, but my browser was starting to hate me, so I had to make some kind of concession.
What was the URL?
It is neuralnation.xcjs.com.
It's on your LinkedIn.
It will also be in the, after post training?
The speaker page?
The speaker page also,
Yeah.
yes. It is open source too and is on GitHub.
Nice.
That will be, I'm going to add a link to that on the main page. I haven't done that yet, but that'll be out there.
Okay.
I saw you were running Olama. Are you running your own models?
I do a mix of my own local models, but I did actually recently subscribe to Olama Cloud to run some of the larger ones that
And that was my question, like, how expensive could this grow?
Started at $20 a month, so not too bad so far.
Did you say you were modeling the AI energy usage in the world?
It does have to create power sources. I've not done anything at that small of a scale yet.
It might be funny if the token usage of the model simulated in the world actually had to use resources in the world.
Yep. I did, so there is time passage in the simulation somewhat, which is kind of semi-related to what you brought up. I didn't know exactly how I wanted to do that, but I made the decision that the only time unit is going to be ticks. And every time the agent calls an endpoint URL, that is one tick.
Okay.
So the more the agent does, the more time passes. Can I go 1, 2, 3, front to back?
Okay, I got a couple of questions, right? So I think Chrome has like an AI agent that's like embedded in it. Are you using that? Are you limited to like Chrome only?
So the embedded Chrome agent is more for on-client work.
Okay.
The models that you can run within the brrouser are downloaded from Hugging
Okay.
Face.
Have you looked into the one that's in Chrome or?
That is something I could perhaps look into. I think it's Gemma. Is it Gemma E2V?
Gemini Nano.
Gemini Nano.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you don't have to have a couple of APIs where you can like save it locally in the web browser, so you don't have to. You can have your save for more than a week.
There's just a database that does that.
Exporting would be nice, and local storage might be nice,
Yeah,
but
and
also
then-
opens up the opportunity for cheating.
Yeah, I guess so. And then have you considered like any like social economical systems, like what would be like neoliberal capitalism versus like socialism versus like feudalism versus whatever?
I want to create enough variables that the AI would be able to decide
Yeah.
on those systems itself.
Yeah.
I'm very far away from being able to do that just because
Yeah.
I'm getting those foundational like environmental systems in place still.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want the AI to have control of it all,
Yeah.
and you can provide suggestions or try to steer it, but
Yeah.
it is ultimately, the AI is more the player than you are.
That's kind of cool.
And I think,
Yeah, how much land area is 1 pixel right now?
it depends on the zoom level, and I don't have a definitive answer for you. I know that when it decides to make building sizes, it does it in fractions of an arc. So I think that's just some design decision the AI made when building the facility construction API calls. So a lot of facilities are relatively large, sometimes a kilometer square or half a kilometer square. But then again, a lot of the early facilities are things like solar power generators or nuclear power plants, and those can be relatively large, maybe not a kilometer square, but still. I'm still trying to get some of the accuracy and precision down. Facilities cannot overlap each other, which is a rule that I had the backend calculate, because AI has tried to build facilities on top of facilities, which isn't ideal or necessarily functional. And then you again? And then hope.
Maybe it's the
Dave, you wanna come
boss
up?
or someone else has probably presented on this, but like, how are you determining when to reach for a local model versus just go with the cloud model? Like,
a lot of it tends to be how interactive I need the session to be. So if I have like an overnight problem, I can have an agent work on. I hand it off to my Hermes agent, which is on local models only at the moment. And then I had another question.
Yeah, I didn't want to derail the whole thing because everybody is so deeply into the game, and I love that. But my question is commercialization. I mean, you gather all these contextual APIs, I guess, about the resources. I've got a buddy who builds HPC, high performance computing centers right now, and he's looking for energy across the United States. Have you thought about basically using this as a model to go and find energy sites?
So I mean, it does know where, it only knows where existing resources are, because I am relying on existing surveys. I don't know if you're talking about novel sites or.
Yeah, and I don't mean to derail again, but it's more of, you're already looking at solar and nuclear capabilities, and these Bitcoin mining companies are becoming HPCs, and like everybody's looking for new energy sites that has a certain amount of gigawatts to it. And they're going off and making millions of dollars with this.
Yeah, I mean, energy acquisition is a core problem of the human race, so it is a large part of the simulation. I don't know data centers processing capability or things I haven't modeled yet. There, already is existing resources for that, at least enough to power the simulation, so I haven't given a lot of thought as to do we need more.
Of course.
But yeah, perhaps we will need more.
I think saying this with a small pivot, you might have a financial benefit out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.